Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 2 of the Archviz Animation Series. In the previous part, we animated the house model, and in this part, we're going to do some shading, then model the base shape, make a camera rig, and then we'll render the heck out of it. Also, if you're interested in learning how I did the moon crash and how I composited the VFX shot in Nuke, then you can check them out on my Patreon. Alright, enough talk, let's start with the tutorial. So shading it is, and this is not that complicated. I mean, it does have multiple textures on it, but that's really not the complicated part of it. And I'm pretty sure we're done with complex stuff for this whole thing. Okay, so as you saw in the animation that when these objects are flat lying on the ground, they have one color, which is white. But as they rise up, or as the outside planes rise up, we get to see that they have a different texture on it. So how do we achieve that? Well, that's a pretty simple effect, but for that what we need to do is apply the modifier over here, or specifically the solidify, because if I just solo this by hitting the slash key on the numpad, and if I go into edit mode, we can see that we only have access to the original edges and not the edges that have been extruded by the solidify. So basically we just have to apply it, and we just have to do the same through all of these faces over here, or all of these planes, which is a bit tedious, but it just requires a minute or two, so I think we'll be fine. I mean, of course we can just hit F3 and then type apply modifiers, right? But the thing is, I really don't want to apply the booleans for over here, right? So yeah, so just that's the only reason I'm doing this manually, okay? Because you never know when you want to change the geometry, or you want the windows to be smaller or larger or something like that. So just for that I'm just going to do it manually. And another step sorry if that was a bit loud. Another step for us to be sure about things is, let's just select this collection over here at the outside collection, then right click and hit duplicate collection, and this new collection we'll just name it as outside backup. So now if we screw up with the whole modifiers thing and all, we can just use this backup collection. So yeah, it's a good thing. And also remember to excuse me, remember to save this file and make a version of it. So you can do that by hitting the Control Shift S buttons, and that way you can make another file name or make a version of it and save it as shading. So that way it's easier for you to keep track of things, and if you do end up screwing up here, you can just always head back. Okay, so now that that's there, I'm just going to select this face over here and just hover hover over the solidify modifier, and then just hit Control A. That basically just applies it. And my screencast keys are having some issues, so they are not being displayed over here. It's probably because of this timeline indicator being high up. Let's try to reduce this. Still nothing. Okay, I'll just give it one last try. Oh, they were off. So that's why. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, you'll see what I'm tapping now. That's good news. Okay, so yeah, back to over this plane, and this plane is a bit different because for some reason its solidify modifier is off, and I don't know why that's the case. So I'm just going to turn it on over here and also turn the render button on. So that means that the modifier will render. If this was off, then even though this is being displayed over here, when we hit the render button, the modifier will basically turn off and it won't render. So yeah, so let's just turn this on. And one more thing that is weird is that its thickness is a bit too high compared to the others. As you can see, its thickness is 0.01, whereas this one has 0.02. So I'm just going to change that to 0.01. I don't know why that happened, but it did, and yeah, we fixed it. Okay, so let's just select this, and we just applied the modifier. So I'm just going to select this object again, hit Control A to apply, then select this and hit Control A to apply, and make sure that you're on the solidify modifier. Okay, if you do end up applying the boolean, well, you can undo it, or if you're at a point where you screwed up like big time, remember that we have our outside backup collection over here. So yeah, so I'm just gonna fast forward through this and apply all of these modifiers, and I'll see you when I'm done. Alright, so I think yeah, I'm all done with the whole thing. So all of these modifiers are being applied, and if again if you end up screwing up, we have a backup file, so that's cool. So now all we have to do is add a material. So let's just go over here. This is, I don't know what it's called, but it's the second last icon from the bottom. So let's just click that, and from here we can add materials. We can even go to the shading tab, which is specifically set for adding materials. Excuse me. Also, your tab might look a bit different. I just have split around with a bit, but the nodes and all, everything will be the same. So what I'm gonna do is, since I have this object selected, I'm just gonna click new over here, and I'm just gonna call this material as base material. Okay, and right off the bat, this is exactly what I need. I need it to be white. I really haven't changed anything even in the original animation. Okay, so it's a pretty simple material, and there's nothing we need to change about it. Also, Blender by default applies it, so like these objects, they don't have a material, but if you render it, these are the settings that will be applied to all of these. So what we can do is let's just select all of these objects over here, and then shift select this one, which I think the other one got selected, the bottom one has I don't know what happens. I'm just gonna again hit A to select everything, then I'm going to shift select on this one, the one where we recently added the base material, and then I'm just gonna hit Control L and then choose materials. So now basically we just have linked this base material to all of them, and we can see that over here, if my mouse will allow me to move it, it's showing 34, which means 34 objects have this material applied, meaning even these inside walls, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that's all cool and all. Now how do we get the wooden texture applied on top of this one? Well, that's an easy one, but let's just quickly go over here in the layout mode. Now what we have to do is, tab into edit mode and select all the faces that we want the wooden texture to be applied on. And then all you have to do is over here in the material setting, just click on add material, right, like this. Then let's just click new, and I'm just going to name this material as texture. Okay, and if I just click switch to the material preview over here, you can see that it's a white material. Well, if I just change this color to something blue, it's nothing has changed. So for us to apply that, what we have to do is go over here to the edit mode of the object, and you'll notice that we get these three options extra. If I just tab out of edit mode, the objects aren't there, so tab into edit mode and these objects are there. And now let's just make sure that these are the faces that I want the wooden texture on. And now let's just select this new material that we just named texture, or let's just call it wooden for clarification, spelling with the correct spelling. And then all we have to do is just hit assign, and now you can see that this object, the outer faces, have the blue material. I'm just going to solo this again, hitting the slash key, but the inside faces have the white color and the outside has the blue color, just like we intended. So basically that's what we have to do for the rest of the objects. I'm just going to select this face again. I'm in the face select mode by hitting the 3 key, then add another texture, then select this from this drop down. Let's just select this wooden texture over here, and then hit assign. Excuse me. Now again, yours might really not have all these materials. I'm recording this for the 4th or 5th time, so that's why I have all of these textures. But no worries, just select this wooden one, and then tab into edit mode, select this face, click on the wooden texture, and then hit assign. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rinse and repeat this whole thing, and I'll see you when it's all done. So again, I'm doing the top faces, and as you can see, there are a lot of faces to select. So let's just go to the top view and then hit C to bring up the circle select, and then all you have to do is just select these faces right here, and then right click, and let's just solo it out. So see that none of the bottom edges are getting selected. Then let's just unsolo it again, add another material, select the wooden, and make sure the wooden is selected, and then let's just choose assign. So yeah, just wanted to bring that out there. So again, I'm going to fast forward this for the rest of it, and I'll see you when it's done. Alright, so we are done adding the texture to it. I mean, it's not wooden, but it's something. So now all we have to do is go to the shading tab and just select any object and just go to the woolen texture, right? So you just go over here to the properties. If this is not selected over here, don't choose from over here, okay? If you end up choosing over here, then that material will be applied to this one. So if I've selected this one, right? And I'll just go over here and choose the base material. So as you can see, this material changes. So let us undo that. So instead of changing this material from over here, just select this object and just switch from over here. Okay, so yeah, keep that in mind. So make sure you're on the wooden texture. And then now it's all about adding the texture. So right now I have this wood floor texture from, I think it's textures.com. No, not textures, Polygon. Yeah, it has to be Polygon. Polygon.com. Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm just going to bring in these maps, roughness, normal, and yeah, displacement. I don't think so I'll be using that, but yeah. So once that's there, and if I just plug this directly into the color, you'll notice that, okay, well, some changes are happening. And okay, so it's something, but it's weird. It looks shit. It does. And that's because we haven't UV unwrapped our model. And UV unwrapping is, it's like, basically this is a 2D image, and we're telling Blender, when you UV unwrap it, Blender basically tells or we just tell Blender when we UV unwrap that, okay, hey, this is this over here on this edge, you have to fold, right? Because in real life, when we fold things, we know exactly where we have to fold, but Blender doesn't know when to fold or where to fold. So that's where UV unwrapping comes in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything by hitting the A key, then tab into edit mode, right? And then again hit A to select everything. And it's okay if we select the other faces as well, because it doesn't matter. We're only using a material over there in this base material. So let's just hit U and then choose Smart UV Project and click OK. And now if we tab out of edit mode, we'll see that this texture is getting applied and it's better than the previous one. It still looks a bit weird, so what we can do is just select this texture, then hit Control T, I suppose. Yeah, Control T. And that basically brings up this texture coordinate node. So what I'm going to do is over here in the scale, I'm just going to change it to something like 3 or maybe 5. Yeah, I think 5 looks good. Yeah. So once that's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these to these outputs as well. So normal will come at the bottom, roughness over here, and roughness will, well, it will directly go to the roughness, and make sure that the color space is set to non-color. And the normal, well, this one, what we have to do is hit Shift A, add in a normal map node. I think I'll just pull this back a bit. Then connect the color to the color, and then connect the normal to normal. And now you'll see that a bit of detail is added on. If I just select this and hit M to mute it, you'll see that the details is gone. And if I unmute that, the details come back in. It's tiny, so what we can do is just up the strength to 2 to make it a bit more visible. And under here, I'm just going to choose the UV map that we applied. So yeah, that's basically it for the material. There's really nothing going on over here other than that. So yeah, I think that's it for the shading part. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm quickly gonna set up a scene, a backdrop for us, so that we'll be able to render it. So yeah, this is it for the shading part, I'm afraid. So yeah, I'll see you in the rendering part. Alright, so rendering part. Now this is a fun bit. There's going to be a bit of modeling in this, as we're going to model the base, and then we're basically going to cut out this whole shape from it. And we're not going to use Boolean because that will be crazy, but it's just basic hectic modeling, just adding loop cuts and deleting faces, but that's for the later part in like 5-10 minutes. But right now what we have to do, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to set up our render scene. So to quickly do that, what I'm going to do is scroll up over here and add 2 collections. The first one is going to be called Studio, and the second one I'll call it base. Okay, so I'm just going to click on studio over here, and then what I'm going to, or sorry, I'm going to click on the base one, and then I'll hit Shift A, mesh, plane, and then tab into edit mode, and then just hit S to scale it, something like this. Yep, looks perfect. Then click on the studio collection and then align your viewport as if you were looking through the camera, something like this. And I just noticed again that my screencast keys are off. I don't know why that happens. It's weird, but yeah. So yeah, something like this. Then hit Shift A and then add a camera, and once that's done, and once you're this is, suppose this is how you want your camera to be looking from. Okay, so this is the view that your camera should be looking at. So it's simple, just hit Control Alt numpad 0. Yeah, and of course you have to make sure that your camera is selected. So I'll just undo that, and I'll just go to somewhere like this. So this is how I want my scene to look. Yeah, something like this. So again, just going to select my camera and then hit Control Alt 0. Then I'm going to hit the N key to bring up the tool properties, and this has some weird rotations, so I'm just going to zero it out. Now the x-axis, I think I'll move it a bit, something like this. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this window, something like this, and then bring this to over here, and then I'm going to hide everything. So I'm going to hit N to hide this one, D to hide this, hide the overlays, and yeah, over here what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the studio, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in a light, and by that I mean an area light. So once that's there, I'm just going to pull it up, and the reason why I am getting this handle is because I have clicked over here on the move tool. If you're not getting, you're probably over here or somewhere one of these, so just click this icon to get these handles available to you. And now let's go to the rendered mode and this bottom, and you'll see that it's black, and that's because this light is having no effect. So let's just pull this down a bit, and now you'll see that okay, something's happening. And the reason for that is because over here in the light properties, the power of the light is set to 10. So let's just increase it by 100, and now we get something. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the tilde key and go to the top view, then hit Shift D on the light to duplicate it, and then hit Shift Z. And what that's basically doing is I'm able to move on the X and Y axis freely, but I'm not able to move it on the Z axis, which is pretty cool. So looking at this over here, I'm just going to align it nearly 45 degrees, like it has to be, I mean not even 45 degrees, it's a 3-point lighting setup, so just cross this over here, and over here I'm able to get to see how it's gonna affect. So again, top view, duplicate this light again and hit X to constrain it on the X axis, and just bring it right across over here. Okay, so now these two lights are pointing directly downwards, and we want them to be pointing over here. So now you can either just click on this rotate, or keep fidgeting with this rotation values, or what you can do is just hit double tap R, and that will give us this free gizmo, and use that to just point at the house, which is pretty fun. So I'm going to hit double tap over here again and point it at the house, and try to look from different directions if it is pointing exactly where we want it to be. Okay, and currently we are in EV, which is pretty cool. So I'm just going to select my camera and make sure that I'm working on the focal length of 50mm, which is cool. So yeah, but let's take a look at how it will look in cycles, because I did render the original animation in cycles, of course. Even the VFX shot itself, I mean, of course the VFX shot was done in cycles. But yeah, so let's just switch to cycles, device set to GPU, and over here in the denoising, what I'm going to do is check this viewport and turn this automatic to optics. And I think this feature is available after 2.91 or 2.9. I really don't know. I don't think 2.8 has this. I know that for sure. Yeah, so Once that's there, I'm just going to click the render button, and it's definitely going to take a while. I mean, it would of course depend on your workstation. I'm working on a low-end PC, so yeah, it's gonna take its damn while. All right, so this is looking a bit good. I think I'll just pull this up a bit. Mm, yeah, I think the power is too much. I think I'll increase the size, and when you increase the size, the shadows get a bit softer, which is always fun. I like softer shadows. Okay, so this lighting setup, it's okay. I like this one. It's definitely a bit different than the original animation, but that doesn't mean that this one is pretty bad. You know, this is a basic 3-point lighting setup, as you can see over here. If we want, we can change its value, change the power of it. So I'm just going to shift click and select these two lights. Then over here in the power, I'm just going to alt click and then type 150. And basically what that did is it made whatever the changes I did in one light, it did the same to the other light. And that happens when you choose the, or when you hit alt. And I think these are a bit too down, so I'll just bring it up, something like this, and I'll just select this light and double tap R to rotate it somewhere over here. Maybe somewhere over here. I think I'm gonna go to the top view and pull this back a bit. Even this one. And my PC is getting a bit slow because I'm having this render mode turned on and doing the changes, so I think I'll just unhide that, or just go to the standard viewport mode, and then let's just realign it to something like this. Yeah, I think that's gonna be fine. It's not the exact copy of the original animation, but the idea is kind of the same. All right. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I think I'll increase the size of it a bit. One. Okay, no, I think, yeah, one is fine. I mean, guys, feel free to play around with it, okay? I'm not putting as much as hard into this one because I've already done it, and yeah, that's the only reason actually. I'm too lazy to do it again. I can of course look at the settings, but I'm look at the settings of the previous blend file, the previous animation, but I'm too lazy for it. So what I can do is I can increase this power as well, because I want to have a bit darker shadows. So I think I'll just reduce this size to 1, so we'll get a bit of darker shadows there. And yeah, so that's it. So I think the lighting setup is fine. Maybe if there are a few changes, I'll do it later, but right now let's try to model the base. Let's cut this whole thing from this, what do you want to call it, base? Yeah, let's just call it base. So how do we do it? That's going to be pretty boring actually. So let's just select this excuse me, this bottom base, and then let's just go to tab, hit tab to go into I think my voice is cracking. Anyway, tab to go into edit mode, and now let's just hit the tilde key to go to the top view. And again, all we have to do is turn on the vertex snapping mode on. And now it's just a simple matter of hitting Control R, and once you hit them, just align it to one of these, so vertices. So let's just do this. So as you can see, I'm trying to align it to these vertices over here. So again, adding a loop cut, then aligning it to this part, any closest vertex really. Again, Shift R, somewhere over here, Shift R, okay, like this, yeah, and I'll just bring this over here. So basically that's the idea behind this. Now this will take forever for me to do, and again while recording it's gonna be a bit painful, so I'll just skip over this and then I'll see you when it's all done. So yeah, see you when that's done. Okay, so yeah, it's been a while since I've been doing this, and as you can see, there's a lot that's going on, and I'm also tired because this recording it's taking its time. I think I have like better things to do, but also at the same time I don't have better things to do. It's a whole thing. Just kidding. This is what I like doing. That's why I'm doing this. Yeah. Okay, so where else do I need another loop cut? Somewhere over here, yeah. I hope you got the idea of what's really going on over here. I hope you guys are not in the dark, because that would pretty much suck. Yeah, over here it's a necessary one. No. This is added, this is added, this is added. Yeah, over here. And I think everything's done. So then what I'm going to do is go to face select mode by hitting the T key. And then just, oh, wait, go to edge select mode. I forgot to add the lines for the windows. Wow. Okay, so yep. Vertex snapping really is one of the best things that happened. I don't know, it's amazing when you think about it. Ever since I started using it. Okay, Christ, gotta add it over here. It's been a blessing is all I can say. Oh, again over here. Yeah, okay, I think everything's fine. If at all anything happens, we can just add it later. So go to the face select mode, then hit C, increase this. Just scroll up to increase your the selection area, and then just select everything that is outside. Something like this. And it's just, there's something about this that's satisfying. Now I don't want this area, so I'm just gonna middle mouse click over there. But yeah, as I was saying, there's just something satisfying about this circle select tool. I don't know. And if you do end up, as you can notice, we can't change or move over here, so just right click and then just zoom in and move. Okay, now I'm just kind of used to this whole circle select thing, so it's kind of easy for me. But just in case you are finding it difficult, take your time. Remember, there's no, you don't need to hurry in this case, so take your time. It may take few minutes, maybe half an hour, but that's completely fine because the animation that we're creating is amazing. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna right click and not select this face because I forgot to add a loop cut over here, so I'll just add that later on. So again, hit C, select these faces over here, then select these one as well, select this ones. It's a bit tedious, not gonna lie, but the animation itself is so good that you can't turn your you I mean, when I was doing this first, I mean, of course there's no tutorial on this, not that I know of, so I ended up discovering it myself, and I was feeling a bit bored doing all of this. I mean, it's a lot of work, I mean, I'm just doing this for my pleasure. So, and I'm going to again not select this because I've again forgot to add a loop cut over here. But anyway, so just a few areas left. And then it sees this one and this one. Yeah, so I think we're done. So I'm just gonna hit X and delete face. Oh, my bad. Hit Control I, which will invert the whole selection, and then what we have to do is just hit X and delete faces. So now if you take a look, it's all gone. I mean, if we solo this, yeah, there's a there's a big dent in it. Now again, I'm just gonna unsolo that again, and as you can see, this is it needs to be filled. So just tab into edit mode, select this edge, and make sure you're in the edge select mode. Then hit E. Let's just see which axis this is. So it's the X axis. So E, X, and because we have our vertex select enabled or vertex snapping enabled, it will just snap right to there. Let's just do the same thing over here. So I'm just gonna add in a loop. I'm just gonna select these faces and hit X, delete faces. Do the same over here. Hit X. Oh wait, why am I deleting them? I don't need to delete them. I just need to delete the face that is lying underneath this. Okay, yeah, that is completely my bad there. Okay, so that's there. So I'm just gonna select this face over here, X faces. I don't think there's any face over here. So if I play this ahead, yep, this works perfectly fine. Works like a charm. So now all we have to do is, oh, another problem that we encountered, and glad I noticed it right now, is that over here in the windows, the third cube over here, it's not parented. Oh, what's happening? Oh yeah, so it's not parented to this door. So I'm just gonna shift click this, hit Control P to parent it. So now if we go back, there's this whole thing that needs to be filled, and I'm glad that we ran into this issue because it's not that difficult, I would say. So I'm just going to select this bottom face, this bottom base. I think base is what we're calling it. Then I'm just going to hit Shift R, Control R to add in 2 loop cuts over here, and then select this edge. Then I'm going to duplicate this edge to Shift D and X, I think Y, sorry, move it along the Y axis and snap it to this edge or this vertex is perfect. Then hit E, Y, and snap it to this one. Yay! So now, if we take a look, yay! It is perfect. Is there something that's missing? Oh, okay. Wait, no, I don't think anything is missing. Is it missing? I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I can't tell what's going on. Is something missing? Is everything, the holes and all, are they working perfectly fine? Yeah, I think so. Also, in the previous in the original animation, I also had added a window back over here. Now again, if you want to, you could. It's up to you. Just for this case, I think it will take on for too long. I'm just going to save those few minutes if you don't mind. So yeah, once that's there, let's just select this plane and then go to the modifiers tab, add in a solidify, and we want to make sure that the solidify goes bottom. So if the offset is set to minus, which is good, so it's going downwards, which is good. So other than that, I think everything is fine. So right now, through the camera, if we just select this whole edge and this, let's just hit GY and extend it, then select this edge, GX, select this edge, sorry, this edge holding Alt, and then GX. Vertex snapping is still there. GY, and we get this perfect whole thing. Now the reason why I extended this out so much is because we are going to create a camera rig. right? To end the final animation with, because I'm a nice guy, that's what. So this is where our camera is. So what I'm going to do is just click on the studio collection. Let's call it studio collection. Then hit Shift A and add in a curve, and under curve let's just select a circle. So once that's there, let's just go to the right view, and I'm just going to, or go to the top view, and I'm just going to scale this so that the edge of it comes right, so that the edge, or sorry, the corners or whatever, the circle touches the point where the camera meets. So what I mean is that this point is connecting this, something like this. This is what I mean. I'm sorry if I wasn't able to say it properly, whatever. So go to the right view, then hit G, Z, and bring it up. And now we have to make sure that these two line properly. As you can see, G, Z, right? So yeah, they kinda scaling it, yeah, something like this. Yeah, this is perfect. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is creating a simple basic rig. Okay, it's pretty awesome. So okay, so let's just select this camera, hit Shift S, and then choose cursor to selected. Then I'm going to hit Shift A again, go to empty, and add in a cube empty, right? And then what you want to do is, or let's just, there's an error that we'll get later, so I'll just let it happen and I'll show you how to fix that quickly. So what we have to do basically is just select the camera over here, and then shift select this and hit Control P. So basically we just parented this camera to the empty, and let's just call this empty cam control. Why am I typing this here? Yeah, cam control. And now let's just select this empty and go to the constraints tab. This is the constraints tab, and add in a follow path constraint. And under target, let's just select the Bezier circle that we created. And now you can see that it goes all the way somewhere over there, right? And the reason for that is because the location, well, we basically just spawned it over here. Well, the fix around that is just you just have to apply your rotation and location. Okay, so I'll just cross that, and I'll just select this camera and hit Alt P and clear its parent and transform. So when you're hitting Alt P, make sure you choose clear and keep transformation, so that way the camera will stay where it is. So what you have to do is just hit Control A and choose all transforms, and now you can see that the object goes right at the center where the world is apparently. So while it is at the center, all you have to do is select add object transform and just choose follow path, and then select our target, which is the Bezier circle. And now if you take a look, it's right where it's supposed to be, right? So if I just move it somewhere over here so that it's where the camera is, and then I'm just going to select this camera and then select the empty, and then hit Control P, keep transform. So now if I were to move around, you'll notice that at the bottom over here the camera moves along with it. So that's all well and good, but now what I want is for my camera to continuously keep looking at the house, because I'm really not in the mood to keep animating the rotation of it. So a fix around that is, well, first let's just find a nice spot over here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so let's just hit Shift. First let's hit Shift S and send our cursor back to the world origin, then hit Shift A again and add in an empty, and this time let's just make it an arrow. Yeah, and I think, yeah, that's it. So let's just call this empty cam focus. So this is what the camera is going to be focusing on. Then select our camera, then go to the object constraints tab again, which is this button, then click track to, which is, yeah, this one, then choose our cam focus, and now it's working. So I'm just going to move the cam focus to somewhere in the, okay, vertex snap is still on, so I'm just going to disable that, and I think I'll just move it somewhere over here. Yeah, and now if I move this, you can see that everything is under focus. It's a weird thing to say, sorry about that. But yeah, that's it. So I'm just gonna move the camera at the, or I'm just gonna move this to somewhere over here, so this is the main focus of it. And or instead of, I've just set this at 0, and I'll just move everything else, like this, and then the house. Okay, the lights are also moving along with it, fine, whatever. So I'll just move it somewhere like this, so that this whole thing is at the center. Now this is again my choice, you can of course just change it. All right, so now it's time for the animation to, or really the animation in this case, the remaining animation that we have to do, or the remaining thing to animate, is the camera. All right, so what I'm going to do is select this, what is this, empty, the cam control empty, and I'm going to go at the start of the animation, and I'm going to hit, I think I'm just rotate something like this, yeah, and yeah, this looks good. And I'm going to hit I to keyframe that, and then go where it's almost about to finish. Yeah, something over here, and I'll just set this to 0. Hit I. So right now I think they are a bit too close, so what I'm going to do is select this, and I think I'll just scale it out a bit. Yeah, so now it looks good. So now yep, sis. So this is looking good, but we can even make it a bit better. So let's just go where the animation ends. So I think, yeah, over here, and then select the camera, and then hit I and add in a location keyframe. Then go to the start of the animation, and then just pull the camera a bit down. Yeah, something like this. Then add another keyframe for the location. So now if we take a look, the camera goes from the bottom to, it basically just grows, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe we can exaggerate the effect, so I'll just bring it up real low. Yeah, something like this. Hit I, location. So now, as you can see over here at the bottom, it looks great. And now I think the only thing left for us to do is, there's this what is this, the remaining space, so we just have to fill it up. So what we can do is, well, hit Shift A and add in a cylinder. Okay, and what I'm going to do is over here under these properties, which will disappear if you just click anywhere else, so don't do that. So just hit Shift A, cylinder, then open this up and choose the cap fill type to triangle fan. Then tab into edit mode, go to the face select mode and select all the stop faces and hit X delete faces. Then hit A to select everything, and what we're doing is we're just pulling it up so that the origin point remains at the bottom. So GZ1. Now the origin is at the bottom. And then let's just go to the edit mode again, select these bottom faces, and then insert them something like this. So just a couple of times, because we are going to add in a subdivision surface modifier to it. So let's just go to the modifiers, add in a subdivision surface, change it to 3, and now let's just scale this to something that fills up the entire area, and then bring it down something like this, and then right click, shade smooth. And again, this is a bit big, so let's just go to the edge select mode, select the stop faces, hit G, Z, bring it down a tad bit, scale it up something like this. And now if we go over here, obviously if we render right now, we'll definitely see this. Okay, this is what's dividing it, and again this edge is not completely out of the way, so I'm just going to GX and make sure that this goes outside this. So the last finishing touch to this animation will be, yep, you guessed it. It's going to be focus. I don't know. It's not called focus. What am I? What is it called? Where's the camera? Let me go over here. Go to the camera settings. And depth of field. Yep, depth of field. So I'm just going to go over here and add in another empty. And I'm going to choose again an arrow. And this one I'm going to call focus. And I'm going to raise this focus empty tad bit up like this, bring it up in the center. Yeah, and then under our camera, so over here, did I just select depth of field, then under object I'm just going to type focus, and then change the f-stop to something like 0.2. And now I'm just going to go over here to the path tracer, sorry, the render settings. I'm going to choose 50 samples because I am running on a super slow PC, but this won't matter because denoising exists. So once that's there, what I'm going to do is go over here. Also take a look at the performance tab, and over here I'm going to set this as my tile size. These are my tile size, so 240 by 216, and then I'm just gonna simply hit render. Alright, so the render is done, so I'm just gonna close this. Now you can see it's a bit noisy, and that's okay, because we're gonna head over to the compositing, click use nodes, and yours again, the whole outlay or the layout, sorry, outlay, what is that? Layout will be a bit different, but that's cool. So I'm just gonna add in a denoise node, and you can probably hear my laptop's fan running through your ears, but I don't know, I don't have the money to buy a new one, so deal with it. Then Control Shift left click to view the render, and denoising will do its thing. It should. I mean, it's, yeah. Also we can see over here, so I'm just gonna disable the backdrop, and then hit Control spacebar to view it. And yeah, so there are a couple of things that you can change if you want to, as in the cylinder that we added. It's going at the it's a bit down than I would have expected, so I'll pull it back up maybe a little. And again, the depth of field, it's doing its effect, and it's blurring the lines over here. Okay, or if you want, you can even scale it out even a tad bit more, something like this. Yep. And I think I'll just bring it up just, yeah, something like this. Yeah, so now the difference is not so much. And over here in the base plane, I think I'll just up the solidify modifier and bring this just a tad bit down. But yeah, that's really it for the whole animation. Now there is this one tiny detail that I forgot to model, and which is this side thing that appears from the top and that lands on the house. So okay, wait, what's going on? Yeah, but that's I mean, that's not difficult. Just select this bottom face, then just solo it out, tab into, just go to edge select mode, and then just shift select all of this, and something like this, and then just shift D to duplicate it and bring it along the Z axis, then hit E, Z, and extrude it up, then unsolo it, and you'll see that it's there. So tab into X-ray mode, maybe not, let's just select this face and hit L to select the connected faces, then hit P by selection. Then I'm going to select this object, unsolo it, and then GZ, bring it up somewhere over here, and then add in a solidify modifier, and it's going in the opposite direction, so something like this. Yeah, that's the gist of it. And I'll just add in the base material, and it's already added. Oh, and that's because, of course, because the base plane had one. And I'm going to quickly go into edit mode, hit A to select everything, and then just do a quick UV and wrapping. That's because I'm going to enable a few passes which will allow me to change textures in compositing if needed. So definitely not for this one. Then what I'm going to do is go to somewhere over here and add in a keyframe for the location. Then go, let's just type in -30, and let's just bring this up out of the camera's focus. Then hit I, location again. So now lands smoothly, but we can even make it better. So over here I'm just going to choose the graph editor and then hit period on the numpad key, the period key on the numpad. And basically I want this animation to start fast and end slow. Yeah, so it will start fast but end slow. So I'm just gonna hit T, go to Quitinic, I don't know what that is, but either way. So now if you take a look, this is the opposite. It starts slowly, ends fast. So hit Control E and choose ease out. So now this will starts fast and slowly. So right now we are getting a lag over here, but now if we play, yeah, so now we can of course offset this. So maybe somewhere, I don't know. I want it to appear when this whole thing is finished modeling, so something like this. But yeah, you can of course tweak it as per your liking. It's really up to you. So now the render settings, let's talk about the render settings. You can of course render it in any resolution you want. I'm going with 1920 by 1080, 250 frames. Yeah, it's enough, more than enough for this animation. You can of course up it up. I mean, by up it up, I mean, you can after 10 frames the whole animation starts. So you can increase the delay a bit, decrease it. It's really up to you. All you have to do is just move the keyframes. And then PNG, yeah, maybe, but what I would recommend is enable a few of these passes like direct, color, glossy, and then among these I would recommend enabling UV pass, normal, vector. I don't think we need vector. And then over here choose the file format as open EXR multilayer, and that basically allows you to store these passes. If we enable the passes over here and render it as a PNG image, they will not be stored, so you'll get a combined image, or maybe you'll just get a black image, and also don't forget to enable crypto matte and material. Now for those of you who don't know what these passes are, I have made a separate tutorial on it, so if you want you can be sure to check it out. And in the coming weeks, or maybe it already has released, this crypto matte tutorial, I'm making a separate video on crypto mattes, so maybe it already has released, maybe it's not, then maybe it is going to release in the next coming weeks, but it is a tutorial in process as of now. And yeah, that's it. So other than that, just go over to the compositing, and if you are using the open, if you're using passes, then you don't have to worry about this is not allowing me to select this, yeah, but you don't have to worry about this whole thing. So you can just bring these passes back in the Blender's compositor and you can have fun with it. But for those of you who are not using the render passes, I would recommend then connecting this denoise node to the composite node, because whatever is connected to the composite node gets rendered out. So now if you hit render with 50 samples, then either if this is what is connected to the composite node, then you'll get this noisy image anytime now. Yeah, so if this image is hooked to the composite node, you'll get this noisy image, but if the denoise node is hooked, then you'll get a denoised image. It's really up to you, but I would recommend rendering it in passes because you never know what changes you might have to do. So that's it for this series. I really hope you learned something new today. This whole thing was fun. I enjoyed making this one. The continuation of this series is the moon crashing tutorial, which is live on my Patreon, so you might want to check that out. Well, this is where we say goodbye. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, be infinite.